me explain myself and tell you what I do. So for 18 years ago, in August, I was interviewing straight out of college. I was interviewing for a programming position. So I went to school for computer engineering. And so I love coding. That's what was my life. I'm gonna sit down on the desk and just code. And then I got a manager who I would say tricked me, but eventually changed my life. She said, what if you could go to your job every day, find something every day that's gonna be challenging and never stay the same? I'm fresh out of college, I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I wanna do. And she tricked me into QA. So for the last 18 years, don't tell my wife, but this has been my first love affair. I love quality assurance. Raise the hands of people that get complimented on their QA skills. Oh, I need to, please list your companies because I need to join them. If you joined quality assurance for being complimented and thanked, good luck, be a developer. But if you're in here, show of hands of who's in the QA teams. Okay, so that developer joke pretty went well, okay. So being a quality assurance person, you have to kind of have a tough back. You have to be okay with not, being patted on the back, but actually being so self-assured about what you're doing that you're helping the company succeed. So I've worked on web service platforms, mobile platforms, big data analytics, web applications. At my current space, we have a mixture of all of them. So from day to day, we could be testing something for our distribution team. The next day, we could be talking about something with the web service and web applications. So as a manager of the team, every day it's a new exciting adventure, which leads me to my next frame. This is just a list of what is impossible. These are some quotes that I gathered together that kind of get me through the day or on days where you don't know what's going on. One of my favorite is, impossible is not a fact, it's an opinion. And that's a very true statement because what someone could say is impossible could be possible. Raise your hand if you thought it would be impossible to elect a president who was a reality star. Welcome to America. Not everyone thinks things are impossible. You have to have people who believe in the impossible to succeed in everything. So I thought it would be impossible to be more nervous than my first time trying to speak to a large audience. And then the impossible happened. My, I would say, TestComplete mentor is the person in front of me, Robert. Give him another round of applause because he did an excellent job with his presentation. Yeah, I have to go behind that legend. Yeah. Thanks, whoever scheduled this one. But I'm going to try my best. I'm going to talk about kind of what he showed me and what helped me kind of come together and create this kind of strategy of building a framework. One of the things I'm hoping at the end of the session you'll learn is what are SmartBears? They're not people from Chicago. Even though I'm from Chicago, I live in Chicago. How to decide the right framework for your organization. What are the pitfalls and obstacles to avoid the evaluation? And the last question is, what is success? So I'm going to really deep dive into what is success because I think it goes to one of the templates that Robert was talking about as far as communicating with your organization and called managing expectations. I literally say that word almost every day as a manager because I would say the guardian of my team. And I mean that in the sense that a lot of times I get every project manager, every salesperson that says, hey, this isn't working, your team sucks. And then I'm the person that has to guard up and say, no, let's gather together, let's manage your expectations of what you thought was gonna happen. And it's usually not, my team isn't doing a good job or the development team isn't doing a good job. It's just managing what they expected and what they should really expect. So I have 3 small kids. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. So besides prayer and a lot of energy drinks, I like to tell stories. So I have story time every Tuesday and Thursday. I actually look forward to it because I wasn't a good reader when I was younger, so it's kind of a struggle to teach them how to read, and I want to build them confidence. So I kind of read the story and then make my own little adaptations to it. So that's kind of the methodology that I'm going to talk about today, and it's called SmartBears. And unfortunately, this was the best picture. I didn't wear the bow tie, so I made someone else wore the bow tie. Be honest with you, my daughter picked it out. She said this was the cutest one, so yeah. Feel bad for me, but you know, shout out to my daughter Milani in Malaysia and Miko. The next slide. So what is Bears? It's not just a team in Chicago. I know the second time a Chicago joke, if you couldn't tell. It's brainstorming, it's educating, it's analyzing, it's researching, and it's success. So I just didn't make those acronyms up. Those were actually part of the process, step by step, and I'm gonna walk you through that really quickly. So brainstorming. First thing is organizing your thoughts. We give you a brief explanation of the product that we had to deal with. Our product was written in Fox Pro. If you're not familiar with that, I see some. So if you're not familiar with that, you were probably born in the 90s. Despite what I look like, I'm an old man, and I remember punch cards. I remember all that great stuff. And Fox Pro is a technology from the past. And so my first day, I actually got employed by my boss at my company, was my boss at another company. And I should have known he was setting me up. He's like, come to my company. I need someone to help us complete this framework for automation. You know, I believe in you. Suckered me into it. Even took me out to dinner, took me to my favorite restaurant. I should have known then. And then he introduced me to the application. It's a Fox Pro application. It's modular. It has a modular for all kinds of things. So we deal with medical claims and devices, and it was slow. It was anything that like the worst expectations you could possibly have. So he goes, hey, I told my VP we're gonna have a POC in a month. And besides looking at him with the, I don't know if anyone's seen the Michael Jordan sad face look emoji. I sat at my desk and I said, hey, impossible is just a state of mind. It's not what it is. I'm gonna do this. And I commenced to start lying to myself. But the first thing I did was start brainstorming. Like, what do I need to do? What can I quickly decide I can get from this? Understanding what is the need from the business standpoint, getting my KPIs, understanding what would help our organization succeed, what would help my boss succeed, because if he succeeds, I get a raise, he gets a raise, we all happy. What will help my teammates? You know, being a new person, I didn't know my teammates that well, so I got to talk to them. I understood what they wanted. I had a very bright, on our team, we call her the Oracle, because if you don't know it and she doesn't know it, no one does. So that person was actually my trainer in this application, and they were just, you know, the first thing I said was, I'm gonna automate this. And they did. I hope you stick around for 2 months. And I said, okay, all right, we have our first doubter, let's go on. So I started educating myself. I reached out to vendors, always free training, because I always mention POC. I need this for free, because if I put cost to it, you know, I'm gonna get fired. But make sure you get that, understanding what communities are out there. Robert mentioned the SmartBear community, great resource. Please use it, utilize it as much as you can. He is right. He actually answers questions at 1 o'clock. He has, I remember in your presentation, you have a bird in your house. Yes, I do. And it tweets sometimes. So it's kind of like his thing that keeps him up. I don't know how he does it, because the bird always goes. Looking at training videos. Make sure, there's so many videos SmartBear does. It's one of the greatest companies as far as giving you videos. And because I don't know about you, I'm a person that I like to do than read. I like to see it actually working. I have a person that works with me in distribution who says, I like to watch the magic happen. So I like to actually do the magic and get my hands dirty with it. So I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I'm a Redskins fan. Please don't judge me. So we had a quarterback named Robert Griffin, and he used to say this saying, know your why. And everyone used to get aggravated with him, but it's actually a really good saying. Why? Why are you doing this? You're not just doing this because someone told you. You're actually doing this because it's going to help your job. It gives you time with your family. You don't have to listen to people talk about how manual testing is so slow. You actually give a skill set. So know what your why is. What is your purpose with this? And then attempt to build a POC. POC is not a 3-letter word. It is actually a 3-letter acronym, but it's not something bad. It's really proof of what you can conceptually do. It's something that you have to build. I'm a big believer in POCs. My former boss, David, it was a POC everything. Like, hey, I have an idea, POC it. I want to drink of water, POC that one. So it was really funny how he got me implemented into that. And another lesson with building framework is be able to fail. Be able to fail, pick up, fail, pick up. I guess that's a life lesson. I teach my kids all the time, like, there's no such thing as failure. It's only people that use those words. Be in a positive mindset. Know that even though it doesn't succeed this first time, it's going to succeed continuing on. Cooperate with your development brainstorming. Include other people in. Just don't make it about yourself. One man can't build a city. One man can't build an automation team. Unfortunately, I've seen and talked to people that there's only one person in the automation team, and I feel bad for you. We here, my brother. It's going to be okay. So actually, the great thing about that is if you're by yourself, team with someone. Get a developer to help you. Because if you can convince them, I can save them an hour where you can sit there and you can go on Facebook and look at pictures. I'm telling you, he's going to work with you. So the next part of Bears is analyzing, creating a timeline of expectations. Again, this goes with setting your expectations. Your first goal isn't, I'm going to build a framework that runs every day and everyone's going to be happy. Please don't do that to yourself. Make the first goal, I'm going to actually get a test case to run. The first day I got a test case to run on my application, I was so excited. I was high-fiving people, showing people I wanted to show it people. And that same person, the Oracle, I showed them the application. I'm all excited, and she goes, I don't think it'll run again. So I said, okay, push play. Didn't run again. So Michael Jordan sad face. But I said, you know what? The next time I'm going to show you it's going to work. And then I went to my desk and said, how am I going to make sure the next time it works? And then that's one of the things that I had to do. I had to set what my goal was going to be. I also had to set my goal because my boss gave me a month, and I have to make sure I get a good excuse of why it's not going to make it in a month. Also, understanding what you can do in a certain time period. Don't be stuck in of course I'm a manager, so I always have, hey, here's the 30-day goal, here's the 60-day goal. When are you going to be done? When can I have it? I need it tomorrow. No, you got 2 hours. So, of course, that's what you get every day is QA. Sometimes you get, hey, 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute, maybe, hey, yesterday. Some of us unfortunately, we don't get yesterday. I got a phone call about a new project today that's going to have to be turned around by Friday. Apparently, no one got my email that I'm in training. But that's what life is QA is about. It's about learning, being better. Let me tell you a secret, just between us. QA people are the smartest people because they always get the obstacles and the impossible things, and they always figure out a way to do it. And then at the end of the day, no one says nothing to them. No one says, hey, our QA team, they made us $20 million. No, because most of the time they say, hey, development team made us $20 million. But if they really thought about it, and this goes to what Robert was saying, doing a cost analysis, our QA team made $40 million. You know why? Because we didn't spend $20 million doing a bug fix, and we saved $20 million of customers not complaining about something not working. So just remember those things. I know there's a long list of things that I put in this slide. I will definitely try to go back. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Should have QA'd that one. The next one is researching. Do your research. So I did my research. I read articles. It said modular, data-driven, keyword-driven, all these fancy words. And I looked up Google, and it gave me all kinds of things that you could do. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I took Seminar 3, and I met Robert. I sat there, and I almost cried as I watched this seminar. And mind you, I had already built a framework. It was running. It was based on, record and play. So every time I ran it, it worked. I let someone else run it, didn't work. Then I got a little bit better, and I made it work for the second person, but the third person failed. So I'm just getting frustrated. I'm almost ready to tell my boss. Now, mind you, this has been my boss at 2 different companies. He thinks I'm, smart. I called my wife and said, honey, what's unemployment look like right now? And what is your pain tolerance about me not having a job? And then I had this seminar, and Robert goes and says, modular framework. And he just walked it through, and he just said, do this, pick this. And I was like, oh my God. I wanted to go through and just kiss the man because I was just like, he saved my life. So that's what we eventually went to, a modular framework where we built functions. And inside the functions, we completely did step by step. So it was easy for me to understand to actually teach other people. Because that's the biggest thing. Like, if you're doing a framework, you have to teach other people. So if you're not a teacher, find someone who is and help them help you teach someone. Being a teacher is really easy. It's really, I am not the smartest person in my organization. I am smart enough to hire the best people to make me look very smart. My team is one of the best, smartest, brightest people. And I'm not saying that because their reviews are coming up and they're going to get bad ones. I'm saying it because, I'm smart enough to hire the right people. Any good manager, any good director, any good CEO will tell you that you hire smart and make them make you look smarter. So that's really what it's about, even with the researching. Allow people to actually see something, how it works, explore it. One of the first things is, what we did with TestComplete was, once I built the framework, everyone got their own space to play with. Word of advice, don't let everyone play in the master branch. Because what happens, someone messed it up. Funny story, my first day at one company, I'm a former developer. I know how to do automation. I'm gonna go in, gonna write my first check-in. I'm gonna impress everyone. Guess what? I broke the whole solution. It was down for like an hour. Everyone's like, oh my God, what's going on? Who wrote the code? And I'm sitting at my desk like, how do I uncommit? So make sure you build your own little thing there. And the next thing is success. So I only have 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna kind of slow this down and speed it up at the same time. I know, again, doing the impossible. So success is really what you think it is. So your success is, I just created Test Suite. Hey, no one else has done it. So my success, which still hasn't, this kind of happened, was going back to the Oracle, showing the Test Suite, and it just doesn't run. It runs in a remote desktop. Oh, I said, no. That's just not enough. It runs through QA Complete. Push play, wow, everything passed. I'm like, what do you think about it now? She says, well, we can't run it in production until you prove it runs 100 times. And I said, okay, I got it. So that was my success. I didn't get instant gratification. She didn't say, oh my God, you're the smartest person in the world. I got the gratification of completing it to the best of the ability. It was almost its own CI line. People could come in. I picked someone who had, at the time, I'm not going to say their name, I'm going to call them Jennifer Lopez. And they were a manual tester, a very bright, intelligent manual tester, who said, I don't do automation. And I said, you know what? You're going to be my guinea pig. First, I showed them how to play it from QA Complete. Next thing, I showed them the framework. And I wrote up, I have a thing for notes. If you don't use Microsoft Notes, I don't know what you're doing. It's the best thing in the world. So I created a whole notes page. I told her about the libraries, how to use each libraries, and I literally gave her the paper, showed her that one time, and walked away. And I'm thinking, next day she's gonna bug me. She didn't get started. The next day I come in, I look at the master branch, and there's like 2 new tests, and I'm like, I didn't write these tests. How did these get here? She had already written her first test. By that next week, 2-3 weeks, she was writing all kinds of tests, and then that's when we had to have the conversation. I don't know if how many people are automation engineers in here, but at some point in time, you have to have the conversation with the team. And it's not the big talk, it's called the little talk. It's called, you have to save, talk to me, and then commit. Like, just don't commit. Like, we have to talk. We have to, this is almost like a marriage. It's actually better than marriage because you actually have a compromise, I mean that in a good way. I don't compromise. My wife runs me. I'm the first one to say it, She tells me what to do, I say jump. She says jump, I say how high and how long, But in this situation, you have commits that you have to compromise with each other. Hey, I'm working on this thing, you're working on this thing. So success is really about how you want to do it. I would always suggest doing it in phases, not only because it gives you good buy-in from business and from your managers, it also gives you time. When I started using TestComplete, I had no idea what it was. I didn't know the Delphi language. I thought that was the stadium in Tennessee for the for the football team. I had no idea what that was. And then I'm sitting there trying to write a script. I was like, oh, this is like QTP. Oh, it's not like QTP. This is like, I don't know. So give yourself some time. So make your phases like phase 1, I'm gonna get this. Phase 2, I'm gonna get this. Make those like things that you can really do. I remember I made phase 2, I'm gonna send emails to the team. And then phase 2 happened, and my boss said, if you send me another email, you're gonna get fired. And so I had to take them off the list. So that's what you have to do. Make sure you get in phases, and make sure you can reset your goals. Don't be stuck to one thing. I didn't go over my quote from Confucius. It says, it does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you don't stop. That's a really good saying to live by, because it's not, I'm a minister's kid, so my mom used to preach the sermon all the time about the tortoise and the the tortoise and the hare. And she used to always talk about, it's not about how you finish the race, but not how you start the race, but how you finish it. So just remember that. So in conclusion, my team was able to implement a successful CI line. We were able to we had one team working on a completely Selenium work frame. They were able to use how we set up our framework to interject with that. And so we didn't have to sit there and buy a whole suite of products. Our framework intervened with them. We were able to do it from command line. It was beautiful. What they did was, since we were able to run it from QA Complete, they had their framework working, executed from QA Complete, we get a result, we use the API. It was beautiful. It ended up being one of the best things I worked on, because I honestly, at the beginning of this, did not think it was gonna work, but it did. Surprise. And I was able to train two members. With one of them was like literally day 2. They were like, oh, this is automation? This is easy. Like, it was surprising, like, how they caught on. It was like, it got to the point, like, 3 months down the line, like, I didn't do any automation. They were, like, building it out, and I was like, hey, how's the automation going? Yeah, we got, like, 4 different new test suites. We're running all kinds of stuff. We decided to take another one of those Windows objects that no one talked about that could be done. We're automating that. And I'm sitting here like in amazement, like, wow, this is amazing. But it's about the framework that you set up and being able to make sure that it can be worked with everyone. I think this is my last thought. Impossible is not defined as not capable of being accomplished. However, if you plan and you have a willingness to fail, you're supposed to say fail, and get back up, you can always do the impossible. So it's kind of a summation of what I was trying to say. So I only have 3 minutes left, so I want to give some time for questions. So thank you guys for being a part of the first SmartBear Connect. That's an accomplishment in itself. And thank you for listening for me for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So thank you guys.